Get 3 months of local news for just 99 cents a month. You'll get unlimited access to the news you need to stay engaged and connected to your community. Visit DuluthNewsTribune.com/subscribe now to get 3 months of local news for only 99 cents a month.
Hello, Northlanders. It's Tuesday, June 11th. I'm Wyatt Buckner with your Duluth News Tribune Minute, presented by Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union.
The average MPECU member saves over $785 a year in better rates and lower fees. And with MPECU, every ATM is your ATM. With their free checking program, you get ATM fee reimbursements at any ATM anywhere in the U.S. Check out Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union's services online at mpecu.com or visit their offices in downtown Duluth, Arrowhead Road, or Miller Trunk Highway.
Now here's today's headlines. Duluth City Councilors signed off on the first dose of tax increment financing for an ambitious initiative to turn the former Duluth Central High School campus into a housing development. On Monday, the council voted 7-1 to provide about $75 million in tax increment financing for the first phase of Incline Village, which would include the construction of 120 condominiums, as well as a 220-unit apartment building for starters. But the present value of the 26-year package is closer to $30 million, according to Chad Ronchetti, director of Duluth's Planning and Economic Development Division. Tax increment financing is a form of public subsidy that captures new property taxes generated by development and uses them to cover certain qualified costs for a period of time. Eventually, the full value of the property hits the tax rolls, and in the case of the proposed Incline Village project, that will add about $170.9 million to the local tax base with Phase 1. The developer anticipates follow-on investments to the total tune of about $500 million across the site. But 1st District Councilor Wendy Duricher said she could not support the TIF package in the absence of any affordable housing component as part of the development. Current plans call for the construction of only market-rate housing in the first stage of Incline Village, although the developer has agreed to consider affordable housing elements in subsequent phases of the project. That future affordable housing commitment remains a key to 2nd District Councilor Mike Mayo's continued support of the subsidies for the project. At-large Councilor Azreen Owl also expressed disappointment that affordable housing hadn't been included in the development plans from the start. Nevertheless, Owl said she remains optimistic future phases of the project will include affordable housing and suggested the extension of basic infrastructure to the site should make that more feasible. Eric Forsman explained why he supports the project, saying the site has been idle for a dozen years and that housing is the city's #1 need. Duricher cast the sole vote against the proposed TIF package, with 4th District Councilor Tara Swenson absent Monday night. 2 people on a motorcycle died in a Douglas County crash Sunday. According to Sheriff Matt Izzard, deputies responded to a report of a motorcycle and car crash at 7:05 p.m. at the intersection of County Highway E and Orchard Drive in Parkland. Both occupants of the motorcycle, a 23-year-old man and 23-year-old woman, died at the scene, Izzard said. Their names were not released. Both were wearing helmets, Izzard said. A line had already formed outside the Duluth Entertainment Convention Center by the time its doors opened at 5:30 a.m. Friday for the Mission of Mercy event. Some had even arrived the night before, camping out to secure their spot to receive free dental care, no questions asked. The setup covered the entire space with dental equipment, care stations, and waiting areas. Organizers said costs are well over $200,000 to execute an event of this scale, all covered by donations. More than 580 volunteers, including dentists, dental assistants, and dental hygienists, were expected to serve up to 1,200 individuals during the 2-day clinic. By 9:30 a.m. the first day, over 400 patients had been served. Mothers were waiting with their young children, elderly people with their spouses, disabled veterans, and members of the Amish community. Several factors contribute to the gap in dental care for residents across the state: lack of insurance, cost of care, and difficulty accessing dental care in a community due to an overall lack of workforce in the industry. Mission of Mercy is a national event. Since 2012, these events have taken place biannually throughout the state, last appearing in Duluth in 2015. Now for a look at an upcoming story, Dan Williamson joins us with a special guest.
Thanks, Wyatt. I'm joined by one of our colleagues, Jay Gabler, Duluth News Tribune arts and entertainment reporter. And Jay will have a story we can find in Wednesday's print edition of the Duluth News Tribune. It's also a story that you can find on our website prior at duluthnewstribune.com. Jay, the focus of this article, the Juneteenth celebration on Central Hillside. What more can you tell us?
That's right. This is the Duluth NAACP's 50th year presenting the Juneteenth celebration that takes place on Central Hillside now in Duluth. And it's one of two Juneteenth celebrations that is happening in Duluth this year. The NAACP Duluth celebration is happening on June 19th, on Juneteenth itself. And previously on June 15th, the Twin Ports Juneteenth celebration is going to happen. So a couple of great options. Go to one, go to both for celebrating Juneteenth in Duluth this year.
Absolutely. What was your biggest takeaway in covering this story?
I was really interested to hear from a couple of people involved with the event, what this event means to the community. Duluth is not known for having a large African heritage community, which makes these Juneteenth celebrations all the more important as an opportunity for people to get together, see people they might not see that often throughout the year. I was also interested to learn more about the history of the Duluth NAACP, which is tied up with, tragically, the lynchings that happened in Duluth in 1920. People came together and organized to help prevent this sort of atrocity ever happening again in the wake of those lynchings. And that was how the NAACP Duluth got its start. Here they are over a century later, presenting their 50th annual Juneteenth celebration.
For our audience, what do you hope they take away from this story?
Well, I hope everybody is aware that these events are taking place and everybody is welcome. Anyone who is in Duluth during these celebrations is warmly encouraged to come by and join the celebration. I also was interested to learn from the Juneteenth organizers that Grandma's Marathon is getting more tightly involved with the Juneteenth celebration in Duluth. Of course, Grandma's Marathon comes very close to Juneteenth every year just because of the way the calendar works. And I learned that the organizers of Grandma's Marathon want to do more to celebrate Juneteenth and to support the NAACP Duluth in their celebration of this now national holiday. So Grandma's Marathon will be a part of the celebration on June 19th. The exact nature of the involvement to be determined, but shocker, Dan, it seems like it's going to involve running.
Who'd have thunk, right? Jay, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Dan.
And again, you can find Jay's article in Wednesday's print edition of the Duluth News Tribune. It's also an article you can find on our website prior at duluthnewstribune.com. Wyatt, back to you.
Thanks, Dan. Now here's a look at your forecast, brought to the News Tribune's Northlandia podcast.
Duluth weather forecast for today. Scattered showers likely, possibly a thunder shower today. Temperatures will stay mostly in the 60s with south winds around 5 to 15, sometimes gusting a little higher. For tonight, becoming partly cloudy with temps dropping down into the low 50s, few upper 40s north of the lake. And then for tomorrow, widely scattered afternoon showers and thunderstorms, otherwise mostly sunny with temps warming to around 80 on Wednesday. Rain becoming likely again by Wednesday night. I'm Storm Tracker meteorologist John Wheeler.
Thank you to the Northlandia podcast for their support. The bi-weekly podcast explores curious and unique stories here in the Northland. The latest episode looks at how Jay Leno once poked fun at the News Tribune for censoring a movie ad in 1990. You can find that episode and others at duluthnewstribune.com or wherever you also get this podcast. Reporting for today's episode was done by Peter Passy, Jimmy Lovren, Brielle Bredston, and Jay Gabler. Thank you for listening to Duluth News Tribune Minute. Have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.